Man, am I glad I left this godforsaken state. Connecticut Democrats propose new state police department to combat far-right extremism. So now we're not even going to hide the ball. I have never seen a more open case of overt viewpoint discrimination in my entire life. And now we're going to establish an entire new police department to combat this. I mean, imagine if this article had said far-left extremism. What do you think the reaction would have been from the other side? Do you think Democrats would have even proposed this? And for that matter, why does it have to be extremism? How about far-right violence? See, the reason is you wouldn't do this is because if it was just to combat violence, we have a police department for that. It's called the local and state police forces. That's what they do. They police. Connecticut Democrats in the state Senate have proposed creating a new state police department that would be tasked with specifically combating far-right extremism. So why won't you just combat extremism in general? Why are we having this obvious viewpoint discrimination? It's the right that we're trying to clamp down on. Like, if you thought that these crazy nutjob socialists that are dominating the Democratic Party across the country wanted to clamp down on free speech, well, here it is. Now they're not even trying to use some sort of subversive tactic. No, there it is. We're just coming right out and saying it, that we're only going after the speech of the right. The proposal, which was unveiled Wednesday as part of the state Senate Democrats' A Just Connecticut agenda, would publicly fund a new state police department that specialized in investigating far-right extremist groups and individuals, according to a new release. Imagine if that had said Islamic extremist groups and individuals. Senate President Pro Tem Martin Looney said the proposal is aimed at combating potential hate crimes, but stressed that his caucus has no intention of persecuting people for their political beliefs, the Hartford Courant reported. What is the difference between a hate crime and a crime? Do you care why somebody murdered somebody, or do you care that they murdered somebody? Right. We don't care why somebody murdered somebody. This is just an overt, it's not even hanging the ball anymore, just an overt clampdown on free speech. Right? Where we are just going to take one side of the political aisle and cancel them. I would also suggest that it is not just to have a policy that openly and specifically targets one side of the aisle. What do you think AOC's response would have been if the Senate the House down in Washington had proposed a similar idea that was targeting one specific side of the aisle's beliefs? I think we had that. Remember what her response was? Yeah. Oh, she was really, really forthcoming to this sort of thing. So no, it's not about extremism. It's not about far right. It's about right of Chairman Mao and their narrowing Overton window and the notion that you can't exist. You are not allowed to have this opinion. Unfortunately, people who entertain hateful beliefs are protected as long as those beliefs don't result in hate crime actions. That's what we're talking about. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't care what somebody says. For God's sakes, do you not remember the phrase, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me? That's because no matter what I say, right, what you're seeing on this screen right now, like no matter how hard I try to punch you in the face, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Even put on the 3D glasses. Here I come. Wah! Who's crying now? Who's got the bruises? Who's got the scratch marks? Like, there's a reason we have free speech. There's a reason you're allowed to say whatever you want, so long as it doesn't result in criminal or violent action. Because sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. We want to be more aggressive in enforcing our laws and identifying likely sources of potential domestic terrorism act against religious institutions and ethnic institutions. So do we want to talk about which group it is that's, for example, in New York City, going after Jews that are targeting specifically Orthodox and Hasidic Jews, the Jews that dress the part and look the part because they can identify them as Jewish? What percent of the population is that? Do we want to talk about that 13%? Oh, no, this is just partisan hackery. We're just looking at one side of the aisle, never mind the other side. Senate Minority Leader Len Fasano, a Republican, said, "There is strong bipartisan support against any type of terrorism, which is not speech, Speech is not terrorism. Terrorism is terrorism. But he took issue with the proposal only mentioning right-wing extremism. You don't think. So what you should do then is turn this around on them and propose verbatim the same exact bill, whatever bill comes from this. Turn it around on them. Use the exact same phraseology and just change right to left. When they put a right-wing label on extremism, they do that to elicit a political response, he said. The Hartford Courant reported. You think? PJ Media noted that federal authorities in recent years classified activities by Antifa, the left-wing militant movement, as domestic terrorist violence. So you might want to go after, say, not just right-wing groups, perhaps, or right-wing extremist groups. Maybe you look at the other side of the aisle. No, again, this is just political hackery. And again, you're going to establish an entire police force. If this isn't 1984 reincarnate, I don't know what is. And you're doing it in a state that's got more debt than Puerto Rico. And you wonder why people are running out of your state. So I'm working on a video right now about my visit back to Connecticut and my experience then. And I got to tell you, if you're trying to attract people to your state, this isn't going to help. Good luck, Connecticut, and good riddance.